Hey guys, welcome to another Godot wave shooter tutorial. This is going to be tutorial number 6, and we're going to be fixing enemy spawning because right now it only spawns in the corners. I had a YouTube user actually recommend this to me. I can't remember the username, but the comment will be on the screen. And I'm going to be fixing that, and then we are also going to be setting it up so the player can die in the game. So let's get right into that. First, go into the arena script, which is where we spawn the enemies. And we're going to do what he said, and instead of changing this to or, we're going to set this to and, so it can actually be in areas other than the corners. I don't know why I used an or there. That must have been my bad. But now let's see if this works. We have our player, and you can see they're coming out of like zones that aren't just the corners, and they're spawning everywhere. There you go. And it just gives it more of a fluid kind of gameplay. It doesn't make it feel like they're spawning in specific locations. Now we're going to be setting up player death. So we're going to be going in our player script, and we need to connect a signal. So go into our player scene by clicking that. We hit 2D, and we need to make a hitbox so the player can actually detect if an enemy is hitting it or not. So we're going to add a child node under the player, and it's going to be a area 2D. We're going to rename this to hitbox, and we're going to be adding a collision shape under the hitbox. I'm going to be setting the shape to a rectangle 2D. I'm going to make sure I have pixel snap on, and I'm just going to set to the player size. And there you go. You have our hitbox system. I'm going to toggle the visibility on the collision shape so I don't see it. And I'm going to go over to node over here and see the signals. And I'm going to do area entered because we want to see if an enemy is going to hit our hitbox. It has a hitbox on the enemy. So we're going to be able to check if that enemy's hitbox enters our area, which both the hitboxes are areas. And if so, we want to make sure that the player dies if they collide with an enemy. So I'm going to be going back to the enemy.tscn to make sure. We're going to go back in our 2D scene. And I'm going to go to groups right here, select the hitbox, go to groups on the hitbox and set it to enemy. Reason why we do this is now that the player can detect if it's hitting an enemy or not. And that's why we're going to be using a group on our hitbox, on our enemy. So save that, go back to the player. Now in the player script, when we go into a hitbox entered state, we're going to do if area that is in group, and we're going to call enemy. First thing that we're going to do, because we're actually I'm not going to have another timer that runs. So what's going to happen is the game's going to freeze for a second. Well, it's not going to freeze. The player is going to die. So the player is going to be, you're not going to be able to see the player anymore. And it's going to take it a second before the game restarts again. Just so the player can register what killed them and what their score is. So to do this, I'm going to be lazy and this is all going to be handled by the player script. So first thing we're going to do is set visible to false. We're not going to queue free our player because we're going to do a yield statement. That basically does is it waits for a certain thing to happen, like a signal going off. So to do this, we're going to be using yield get tree dot create timer for 0.5 seconds and timeout for the second argument. What this does is it creates the timer in the tree and it waits till this timer hits its timeout state. And it'll pause all of the code in this area entered until this is true. Then, after our yield statement, we're going to be wanting to do get tree.reload current scene, which basically does exactly what it says it does. It reloads the current scene. So what this will look like is the player looks like he dies but he's actually still existing. He's just invisible. So now let's play our game. So I'm going to let an enemy hit me and see what happens. Oh, we're dead. Oh, and it restarted. I'm probably going to make that a bit longer. But you can see, let's say I die right here. I could still shoot after I'm dead. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is going to be making sure that the player, when the player's dead, they can't shoot. So to make sure that we're going to make another variable we're call is dead. And we're going to set that to false because he's usually not dead right at the start. Then in our process function, we could say and is dead is equal to false. And we also don't want to move our position, so we want to do and if is dead is equal to false. So that just makes sure that we can't shoot if we are dead. It also makes sure that we can't move when we are dead. So now we need to call is dead to true when we are hit by an enemy. So before we set visible, it actually doesn't matter, but I want to set is dead to true before he toggles his visibility. Then we'll go back to arena, restart the scene, and I can see when I hit an enemy, I can't shoot or move. And I'm actually going to set it so it takes a bit longer when you are dead. I'm going to set that timer at the 1. Now let's run that. There you have it. You do have a death system now, and so this was a bit of a shorter tutorial. I'll have another one out soon. I hope you guys like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.